Welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through today's topic because we're looking at a tale of two very different types of triangles. On one hand, we've got this legendary patch of ocean that's basically synonymous with fear, tragedy, and the supernatural. But on the other hand, we have a modern, widespread cultural phenomenon rooted in nightlife, local community, and, well, kicking back with a cold drink. We're going to look at how a terrifying maritime myth morphed into a beloved badge of honor for downtowns all across America. Now, here's a slightly eerie question for you. Where do you go when you want to disappear completely? For decades, that question was heavily associated with danger, specifically in the perilous waters of the Western Atlantic. But as you'll see, the whole concept of disappearing has entirely flipped its script in recent years. To understand how we got to the fun version of getting lost, we first have to understand the terrifying one. Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1. The mythical Bermuda Triangle. So, what exactly is the Bermuda Triangle? Well, it's essentially an imaginary boundary connecting Miami, San Juan, and the Bahamas. Over the 20th century alone, this massive expanse of the Atlantic Ocean claimed over 1,000 lives. It became the ultimate global mystery, a place where compasses just spin wildly and these massive hulking vessels simply vanish into thin air, leaving absolutely zero wreckage behind. Let's move to and see how this builds, because the lore actually goes way back to 1493 when Christopher Columbus logged strange compass readings and shallow seas with no land in sight. But modern legend, that really took off in the 20th century. In 1918, the USS Cyclops, this massive Navy collier, just vanished with all hands on board. Then you've got the most famous incident, December 1945. Flight 19, a training squadron of 5 U.S. Navy torpedo bombers, disappears during a routine mission. The mystery hit an absolute fever pitch in 1964 when a writer named Vincent Gaddis officially coined the term Bermuda Triangle, firmly cementing it in our pop culture forever. Shifting gears a bit, Section 2, Solving the Ocean's Mysteries. Look, while alien abductions and time warps make for incredible sci-fi, researchers like university librarian Larry Cush, they actually went ahead and debunked these paranormal myths just by looking at the hard data. First off, this area is one of the few places on Earth experiencing compass variation. That means magnetic compasses here point to true north, rather than magnetic north, which easily throws off inexperienced navigators. Combine that with the swift, incredibly turbulent Gulf Stream, which can literally erase evidence of a shipwreck in a matter of hours, and unpredictable thunderstorms that satellites often miss. Plus, the ocean floor here features some of the deepest marine trenches in the world. But honestly, perhaps the biggest factor? Volume. This area is absolutely packed with pleasure boaters. The U.S. Coast Guard fields over 8,000 distress calls a year in this region alone. To put that into perspective, that's more than 20 a day. And often, it's just from folks who have simply run out of gas. Okay, let's execute a hard comedic pivot here. Think about the contrast. On one side, you've got the Bermuda Triangle, lost ships, alien abductions, and rogue waves. On the other, the Bermuda Triangle, lost weekends, cheap beer, and rogue jukeboxes. Communities all across America took this terrifying concept of an inescapable void and playfully co-opted it to describe their own dense, inescapable nightlife districts. These are places where getting wonderfully lost is the entire point. Which brings us right to Section 3. Enter the Bermuda Triangle. So the crucial point here is the number 13. Why? Well, in downtown Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, there's this legendary entertainment district where an incredible 13 bars are packed into just 3 walkable city blocks. I mean, that is just a stunning density of taverns, pubs, and restaurants. And according to local lore, the Sault Ste. Marie Bermuda Triangle was officially discovered by the father and son team of Randy and Kevin Cluck. They were out conducting field research for their travel guide, Bars, and realized that once you stepped into this specific 3-block radius, the sheer concentration of unpretentious, welcoming watering holes meant you could easily lose an entire weekend, in the best way possible, of course. Moving right along, Section 4, Coast-to-Coast Bar Crawls. Now, what's really interesting here is the sheer variety of Bermuda Triangle spread all across the map. Just look at Bozeman, Montana. Their triangle features legendary working-class dives like the Scoop, which pours massive amounts of PBR. Down in Eugene, Oregon, their downtown triangle blends historic spots like Lucky's Club, which was established way back in 1911, with high-energy dance floors. Over in Kihei, Hawaii, the Bermuda Triangle is this tropical frat row of beachfront tiki huts and authentic local dives like Kahala's. In Hilton Head, South Carolina, it's all about the lively outdoor patios at Reilly's Plaza. And in Leonardstown, Maryland, get this, they actually organize official Bermuda Triangle bar crawls, where you collect exclusive cups from venues just to win a Survivor t-shirt. Let's break down how this works in Section 5. Anatomy of a Bermuda Triangle. You see, there's a very specific recipe to this phenomenon. It requires a high density of really walkable venues. You need unpretentious spots. We're talking faded paint, rusted roofs, the works. But absolutely most importantly, it requires enduring local authenticity and community. A great example from our sources is the Bywater neighborhood in New Orleans. It sits right on the doorstep of the lower 9th Ward, completely off the beaten tourist path. Establishments there, like Vaughn's Lounge, create a timeless bar ecosystem. The bars aren't fiercely competing, they overlap, they share patrons, and they serve as the authentic beating heart of the neighborhood. I absolutely love this quote from the Sault Ste. Marie Visitor's Guide. With hotels and locales located within walking distance, you can fall off the radar in this Bermuda Triangle and still be found the next day. That really hits the nail on the head. It's all about dropping off the grid, but doing so safely and comfortably right within your own community. And that leads us perfectly into Section 6, Getting Lost on Purpose. And this brilliantly illustrates the real sociological value of these spaces. Sociologists often talk about the third place. Those social surroundings that are completely separate from your two usual environments of home and the workplace. In our modern, hyper-connected, constantly buzzing digital world, these authentic, old-school physical spaces are absolutely vital. A true Bermuda Triangle is a sanctuary for unplugging and just unwinding. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. The next time you find yourself wandering between a few glowing neon signs in your local dive bar district, remember, you aren't lost. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. Which leaves us with this final thought. In an increasingly digital world, where we're tracked and messaged constantly 24/7, isn't it an absolute luxury to find a place in your hometown where you can just disappear?